Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Lenard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hey gang, just a brief intro into Music Weeks. Here they are now. I was also considering going down the list of all the people that you see over the Music Weeks to be part of each episode, let you know who's coming or who may have been or whatnot. The list has grown. Too big to really go into here. I don't want to take that much time. Music Weeks, thankfully, has grown into a pretty big deal. So it's grown a lot more than just the one Music Week it originally was going to start out as, into multiple weeks now. Let's go ahead and get into this particular day's Music Weeks episodes, and I'm trying to drop them Monday through Friday each week of Music Weeks. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, but nothing to do with faith or politics today. Music Weeks continues, and before I introduce my guests, for the benefit of the transcript and those listening on audio only, the music concert shirt I dug up for this episode of Music Weeks is a Queensryche. I don't know if you could see that. The logo is kind of small. But at any rate, yeah, I'm trying to dig up old concert shirts to wear during the discussions to be in the spirit of Music Week. At any rate, I'm babbling now. So let's get to our guest. Kristi Jacques is, thankfully, I asked her before we hit record, she corrected me because I got it wrong because it's spelled Jacques, but pronounced Jacques. So welcome to the show, Kristi.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
And also, we'll get into it. My audience knows I have health issues. People seeing on the behind the scenes video can see you're wearing the oxygen hose. Yes. But for benefit of audio and transcript, that descriptor. But beyond that, let's do the usual proverbial normal first question. Who the hell is Kristi Jacques? Where were you born, raised? Where are you now? That sort of thing.
Well, I'm honestly still trying to find out who I am. But that's a lifelong journey. I'm born and raised in Charleston, South Carolina. And I now live in Myrtle Beach, but I've been here close to 30 years now. So I guess that makes me a Myrtle Beach local.
Okay. Well, are you wearing one of your own concert shirts, or are you wearing somebody? I could see it looks like a concert shirt. Is that?
It is. One of my favorite artists, the one who inspired me to get back to music. His name is Miles Kennedy.
Okay. Shout out to Miles. Or for those listening in Canada, kilometers. Ba-dum-bum. My audience knows I can never pass the lame pun either. So hello, kilometers. I mean, Miles. Hope you'll be tuning in for the episode to get your shout out from Christy. Yet another example of I don't script shows. We hit record and hey, let the silliness begin. So
amen
now,
to that.
Yeah, now we almost, for benefit of the audience, almost had to cancel this podcast or this record session because you reached out yesterday that you might have had a health scare pop up, but yet you're okay.
Yeah.
So before we get to the music, I guess since I'm on that now, I'm doing it backwards. I was going to do the music first, but now that we're on our shared health issues, you're feeling okay today.
I am. I got a really good night's sleep and I was able to relax. So that helps a lot.
I hear you. I suffer CFIDs among many things. And yeah, fatigue is always a part of that. And I've never get enough because it's almost a misnomer that people judge my character based on this show, or AKA Jokester Joe on Savage Unfiltered. Because when they see me, I'm like, is this guy on cocaine? Because I'm I'm good for short bursts of energy, right?
I hear that.
But then, I need a nap.
Absolutely.
So, Kennedy inspired you. Let's explore that background a little.
Well, when I was growing up in Charleston, I had a musical family pretty much. I was kind of embedded in the local scene. I worked in a music store. I took guitar lessons, vocal lessons, sang in different choral projects, did as much as I could. And then when I moved to Myrtle Beach, I put the guitar down and life took over. Then 2020 happened. And I didn't have anywhere to go or anywhere to be or do anything, and went down the YouTube rabbit hole and found some of Miles's acoustic stuff. And I was like, yeah, I remember being able to do some of that. And that's what got me started again.
Uh-huh. So had you officially recorded anything before that? No.
I did a couple of songs in Charleston, but those recordings no longer exist.
That's like me. I recorded on the old reel-to-reel 8-track type system, tunes back in the late 70s, early 80s, long gone, never digitized. I've got a couple on an old cassette tape somewhere, but they'd be crap to digitize off of that and put up, so I don't bother. I stick with writing my books and doing the show instead. So I'm glad. Well, like you joked, and aren't we all still discovering ourselves? But you kind of refound yourself with music.
Exactly.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And
definitely.
Do you have an album out now or forthcoming?
I since 2020 or 2021, when I started back with writing and I found a good guitar teacher. I've released 2 albums and probably a dozen singles.
It's a lot different today than way back like in the 70s and 80s. My dad, Ted Leonard Jr. and the Polka Kings, they were actually good enough to get a record deal with Don Ho Records. And pretty popular. They toured all over, east of the Mississippi. So they were pretty good. They had a record deal, 3 records. Can still find them today. I was never good enough for it. Today, I don't want to demean anyone or anything, but today, almost anyone, unfortunately, can throw up a website with some stuff to download for 99 cents versus someone who actually has real musical background like you.
Yeah, you kind of get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, my point being in that is the competition. It's like being an author also with self-publishing. Anyone can throw up something, unedited, completely grammatically a mess, almost unreadable, but it's too late if you've already bought it.
Yeah.
Because, there's all that competition because anyone can upload a book to Amazon for free. Doesn't mean it's worth anything, but as opposed to having building yourself a track record now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an ungodly amount of songs released every day on Spotify. It's crazy.
Yep.
So trying to stand out in that crowd is.
Yep.
I'm still navigating the whole business world, the music business part. I'd rather just do the music, not the music business. But
yeah, I hear you. I understand. And I will when I email you again, not exactly sure what day this will broadcast during Music Weeks, but when the time comes, let me make myself a note. CCMTS. Michael Stover, that's Michael Stover's agency. He handles musical talent. I'll copy him as an introduction. Then maybe you can have some discussions with him and pawn off some of that business side. Right?
That would be great. I would love that.
Yeah, I hear you. I do. I understand. Yeah, the creative side versus that doggone paperwork side and the taxes side and
and social media.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, to relate. My first internet, I've been writing, like I said, wrote and record music since the 70s, but I've also been writing stories, short stories, poetry, a radio play. I won CJLM for a radio play contest. They had novels, novelettes, full novels. So my first foray into international books, I didn't want to just go it alone. So I did go through an assisted publishing firm, Illumify Media, and I am grateful to them. So, that way I had mentors to learn with. And indeed, for a year, somebody there handled my social media for me, even though I'm a former IT guy, so I'd been on social media since most knew what social media was. I was online before there was such a thing as the internet even, but that's a whole other topic and story. But yeah, so, and she would, create images or short reels. It's like, oh, okay, that's how to do that. And then after the year, I could take over because I'm on like 15 plus social media platforms and could just copy and paste the same thing several places. But as you say, it's a learning curve.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Not one that I really like.
Right. That's the other thing, too. I mean, it's just the time. But again, juggling 15 is as easily as juggling one if you're basically copying and pasting across it. And I go into in my How to Write a Book and Get It Published book, a marketing section about social media. And I don't get people saying, yeah, I'm on X or I'm on Getter or I'm on MeWe, Spreewee, whatever. And that's I don't get why they want to self-limit themselves. And especially someone like you in an entertainment sector of society, you've got to self-promote. Best advertisement is word of mouth if you could get others to do it, of course. But the only way you're going to get people tuned into you is you reaching out, getting them to tune in them and say, oh, how great, wonderful Kristi Jacques' music is. And then it's like the old Pantene commercial, right? Tell two people, they tell two people, they tell two. Pretty soon you got a movement. But the movement is almost as painful as a movement. Pun intended. Sorry, potty humor even. I just cannot pass the lame puns. But you're kind of feeling that, right? It's a hassle. It's a pain, literal and figurative in a way, dealing with social media at times.
Yeah.
So since we're on social media, what platforms are you on?
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and I think that's it. LinkedIn.
Yeah, so many others out there too.
Yeah.
Consider joining them. And again, it's just a simple copy paste, enter. Don't limit your reach. So many other people out there trying, like we said, the competition, trying to hold you back. We can't hold ourselves back. But you mentioned TikTok. I find that funny because they keep kicking me off. I've had 3 different accounts there. It's like, okay, whatever. Moving on. Not worth my time. But TikTok is the in thing right now, right?
It is.
So do you take little snippets of your songs to share on TikTok?
I do, yeah. And again, trying to navigate the algorithms for each platform is crazy.
Well, yes, that's
all different.
That's the thing. To actually dig down into it and try to indeed play, again, music pun intended, play. I'm fake strumming a guitar here for those on audio only. But yeah, to play their game with their rules to get your best exposure. I'm kind of lazy in that way. It's like I said, I like to say I'm going for quality over quantity, but on 15 platforms, again, I'm just putting it there, and those who come across me. Like you, I agree. I don't have time to figure out the games, all the hoops you want me to jump through.
Right. Yeah. I agree completely.
So, are you working on an album now, or do you have a working title for it? Or if you don't have anything immediately in the works, what is your most recent?
Well, I just released a song a week ago called Change. But right now I'm just releasing singles like every 7 weeks. Just because it's a lot cheaper to release a single than it is to do an album.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of artists. I learned that the
hard way.
Oh, a lot of artists that I talk to indeed know. Again, that's just kind of way the game is played now. You put the songs out there for 99 cents. You get 4 or 5 of them selling really well. Then okay, I can press an album here out of those because they've got broad enough appeal. But yeah, putting out an album with a hoped 1 or 2 hits as opposed to testing the waters with them first, it's just smarter.
Yeah, absolutely. I had my first 2 albums. I still have, a couple hundred copies here of the CDs.
Collecting dust.
Yeah, pretty much. That's okay.
Well,
They
sell
make
them on.
posters.
Oh yeah, yes. Open an Etsy shop and or sell some on. I mentioned eBay because I was on eBay the other day. I found of my dad's Ted Leonard Jr. and the Polka Kings an 8-track tape. somebody
wow.
was selling. It's like, oh, your audience is pretty small there. They gotta like polka music. They've got to still have an 8-track player that went out of fashion ages ago. I still have one, but most people don't.
That's crazy.
So I'm not ready to wrap it up yet, but normally I wrap it up with, you have a website. Let's get that in early. Where, or do you just use Spotify for people to download your tunes? Do you have a personal or a professional website?
I do. It's ChristyJacquesMusic.com.
Okay, making a note. Music.com. And
I have to double check that.
oh,
That's awful. Yeah, it's ChristyJacquesMusic.com.
okay. And for those watching, listening, reading the transcript, whatever, Buzzsprout is where my show originates. It goes out to 20 plus audio platforms and 5 video, but the audio version is housed at Buzzsprout. If you go to Buzzsprout, get the transcript from there, you will see it's more than just a transcript of what we're saying. At the beginning, there will be links, and in the extended related links section, I will, of course, have ChristyJacquesMusic.com listed. And again, Jakes is how it's pronounced. It's spelled like Jacques in French, Jaqques. Yes?
JACQUES.
Oh, did I forget the C?
You did.
Oh, Jacques, but pronounced Jakes, yes. And Christy, I get right. Constitutional is politics. Christy could be Christy, but no, it's Kristi. So let's make sure people know how to spell that correctly also.
I like to be difficult sometimes.
Well, I think you can blame your parents for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, what other you mentioned Kennedy? Miles, yeah, the kilometers joke. How could I forget? Name association and jokes can help. And that just helped me to remember Miles's first name. Miles Kennedy was one, perhaps your biggest influence. What other artists or groups or whatever also provide an influence? Although, and you also said you came from a musical family, so your family itself were mentors and an influence.
My father had the most beautiful baritone voice. He didn't use it except for singing in church in the pews. He didn't sing in the choir, but I would sit next to him and just loved his voice. My brother was an amazing musician, guitar player, singer, songwriter, and I always looked up to him. And when he passed in 94, I ended up with 2 of his guitars. And, they're up on my wall today.
You don't play them. They're keepsakes for you now.
I play one of them on occasion. I haven't touched the classical guitar in a long time.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So we've not really technically gone in yet, and people may not have bothered to go to Kristi Jacques' Jacques. Oh, I'm screwing up. Kristi Jacques, spelled like jocks. KristiJacquesMusic.com to know what is your general music genre.
I kind of call myself a musical mutt. I'm a little bit of everything. You know, my dad made me listen to country music every morning before school. Not my choice, but I grew up listening to, you know, like Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson and
I heard all that growing up too. Yep.
yeah, Conway Twitty.
Oh yeah. George Jones,
Yep.
Vern Gosdin, for those who remember that name. Freddie Fender.
Yeah.
Till the next teardrop falls.
My brother was a big fan of Dan Fogelberg.
Oh, I love Dan. Yeah.
Jim Croce. And then I'm a child of the 80s. So some of the really powerful female artists like Pat Benatar and Hart, they really impacted me. But there's so many out there now.
Yes.
And I look to them all for inspiration.
Yeah, that's great. Again, why limit yourself, right? You're at a buffet. Why limit yourself to the one item?
Yeah. So you'll hear a little bit of country twang in some of my songs, some harder rock, some more folksy music. Excuse me. So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only do I do lame puns, I do lame analogies like the buffet. Although I like to joke. I'm far too clever for metaphors. I do meta sixes.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm laughing. She's cringing. Either way, it works as a joke. Oh goodness. I know this is like asking, what's your favorite child? But do you have a favorite song you like performing most?
Well, to be honest, I haven't performed
Because of the health issues?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sit here in my home studio and my producer puts the songs on a scratch track and he sends it to me and I put the vocals over it and then he turns it into something magical.
All right. Again, the same. What's your favorite baby? Let me rephrase it. Do you have one you're most proud of because of the lyrical or musical or somehow, and you use the word magic, it magically came together way beyond your expectation that's kind of the top of your list?
Well, there is one called In Plain Sight, and it's telling people that we all need to work together. We have to do better. We have to come together to make things brighter and better for the world. So yeah. I'm very proud of that song. And probably one of my favorites is called Mama, I Love You. And needless to say, it's my mother's favorite song also.
Wow, what a shock, right? Like my sister's favorite song of Dad's is Daddy's Little Girl that he wrote for her. So
of course.
Well, I got short shifted there. I never had a song written about me. So it's like
maybe there is one, you just don't know the connection.
It's possible. I could have been the muse or the inspiration for something. Yeah, who knows, right? Since we're on Muse, we've discussed mentors. Do you have uh, in the green room? You mentioned your dog is there. We kind of thought your dog would chime in. What's your dog's name?
Her name is Nova.
Oh, like from the Planet of the Apes thing.
I adopted her a little over a year ago from a rescue in Charlotte called Bullies to the Rescue. And she's a little French bulldog. She's barking in the other room right now.
Oh, okay. We expected her to do that during the show, but I'm not picking her up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the audience will then, but I love when fur babies chime in during an episode. But
She's been the best.
is Nova a muse and inspiration in some sort of way? You said she was a rescue. Obviously, somebody didn't care for her. So there's a song there about caring for the discarded. Yes.
I haven't thought about that yet, but I could do that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I expect a writing credit. I'm just kidding.
Honestly, when she first came here, she didn't like any music at all. If I'd start to play or sing, she'd get up and leave the room. So I was starting to take it personally.
Oh, I'm laughing so hard I'm coughing now. Yeah. But it grew on her, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe, it's, although I take it your music is a lot more calm than timid, maybe she came from a very loud place and music just kind of was just noise to her till she came to appreciate it coming out of mama.
Yeah. She was a breeder dog and overworked. But she's got the life now, let me tell you.
Yeah, most rescues are that way. We used to have dogs growing up, but then we kind of became a cat family because we got lazy. Cats are a lot easier to deal with. And yeah, all my cats were strays. My now ex-wife, though, we tried to get a stray dog, and it wasn't properly diagnosed. We called it Snickers. They very cruelly just referred to it in the shelter as bad leg because it had a bad leg. Somebody clearly didn't take good care of it or abused it or whatnot, and we wanted to give Snickers a home. But clearly that dog needed to be with like an elderly lone person in a home that would be there all the time. But younger people who had to go to jobs, you leave the thing home, it got panicky, it chewed up the couch. So then my wife wanted a regular store-bought dog, and I love Cyber, as we called him, because I'm a former IT guy. Siberian Husky, so cross between cyberspace and Siberian Husky. Cyber, loved him to death, but I prefer, sounds like you too, getting a rescue because they so much more need the help. And like you said, our cats, so spoiled. They lived a long, long time, longer than the average, because once they came to us, so spoiled, like you're saying Nova is at your house.
Yes. Yeah. She's definitely spoiled. She owns me.
Right. Yeah. I know what you're saying there. And anyone with a former stray fur baby knows, you didn't pick them, they picked you. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I love that idea of that song that I suggested, and perhaps whether you could call it Nova or not, people wouldn't understand it by the title then, but could certainly dedicate it to Nova and all the strays. I who the I'm rambling. I'm going. Who's the one that does all the animal to need our help? Not Melissa. Not. I loved her as a singer, but frankly,
Sarah, no.
Sarah McLachlan. There we
Yeah.
go. Yes, you're right. You got it. It's like every time I hear her voice, I'm to the point of annoyance. All right, give it a rest. I am doing my part, and we do need more to do a part in helping abandoned animals of all kinds, including horses and pigs and all kinds of animals. So, but it's to the point where I hear that so much. I used to love the song. I'm just annoyed by it now. So I certainly don't want your Nova song or you to get to the point of annoyance.
Yeah, I don't want that either.
But yeah, you have a chance to help yourself, help animals through that, helping those that may have been discarded by another concept. So I will look forward to a future download option from you on that. That will be a lot of fun. And it'll be, well, I would say our little secret how that came about, but everybody watching now knows. But
yes. Stay tuned.
At any rate, I'm going to wrap things up. Is there anything you would have liked me to ask that I didn't ask that you can ask yourself and answer?
I think we covered a good bit.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first saw your profile on Matchmaker FM, that for those who don't know, that there are many sites that work as a go-between between artists and podcasters and whatnot, so that podcasters can find guests. And when I came up with Music Weeks concept, it was originally going to be Music Week, just 5 Monday through Friday episodes. And I thought, why not make it Music Weeks? Maybe even Music Month. So I started reaching out beyond the normal people I already had interviewed for Music Weeks and came across you on Matchmaker FM. And what really attracted me to want to talk to you was, again, with me having health issues, you stating in your profile health issues, dealing with it through music, and that in a way got you back to the music, was important to share that, especially coming out of the end of February. I had health weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, music has helped me tremendously. It's saved my life. And now I have a story to tell.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're here being able to tell it. I'm glad it worked out. We didn't have to cancel as we thought might have to happen. But yeah, even for the most uncoordinated, most unmusical person on the planet, listening to somebody else's music can be soothing and healing and a very positive thing for their mental and physical health. Yes?
Absolutely. Yeah. It connects us all.
Yep. Yep. I think so too. Music can be a good escape, or music can be a good memory tool, right? Like I can go back and dig up an old 45, put it on, play it. I'm transported. I escape back to where I was at that time, right?
Yeah. Actually, for treatment in Alzheimer's.
Oh, our mother had Alzheimer's for 10 years. And you know what? Nobody ever suggested that. I talk about that association with music and memory, but yet, I never thought about it. I mean, we'd have the TV on for her all the time, that same kind of thing, right? An old TV series type channel like TV Land or whatever.
Right,
And I
right.
would think that would bring back memories, but didn't think to the point of digging up her old albums to put them on and play them and see what that would have brought back in her. So I am so glad you said that. And that's something important that people now think and remember going forward. If you indeed have somebody with dementia, if they've got albums, dig them up, put them on for them. And that can be helpful.
Yes, it can.
So, yeah, as with almost all of the Music Week show, there winds up being something far more in depth or far deeper than just the entertainment side of music. And yet this with you is yet another example. So thank you, Kristi Jacques, right? Jakes. Yeah, I did it again. Kristi Jacques. I even wrote it down phonetically and I'm still screwing it up. But spelled KristiJacques. And again, your website, KristiJacquesMusic.com. Hope people will check you out. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Thank you. Take care. May God bless you. Take care of your health. You will be in my thoughts and prayers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.